In this edition of BCSN Classics, we look back at the 2013 Boys District Finals between Scott and Perkins. A game so good, 4 quarters just wasn't enough to decide it. Hi, and thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Wilcox. For the second time in 3 years, the Bulldogs advanced to the district finals. They came up short back in 2011. They felt they had the talent, the depth, and the athleticism to bring home the hardware this time. Standing in their way, though, was a very talented Perkins squad, led by the school's all-time leading scorer and the reigning District Player of the Year, Nick Williams. Greg Franke and Simone Eli have the call from the Stroh Center in Bowling Green.
We should have a really interesting game here. Another guy to watch as we see Scott around Chris Dames has done such a great job with them instilling more discipline into their game since he took over 3 years ago. And he really feels that if they can shut down or at least contain their 2 main players, make the other guys beat them, that will really stand them in good stead today.
Yeah, he mentioned trying to pressure them, maybe in a full court pressure, just to start the game, kind of get a feel for how they're doing, and hopefully no one from Perkins really starts going off early or anything like that. But he's pretty confident in his athleticism with this Scott team right now.
They lost 95% of their scoring from last year. Their top 5 scorers, Shaq Allen and D'Antonio Kennard in particular, were huge losses, but they have managed to just keep it going, and here they are in the district finals again. Perkins gets the tip, and this is Brandon Smith, the senior. Hit a huge 3 in the 4th quarter to start a 15-3 run that allowed them to overcome the Bowling Green Bobcats in the district semi game.
Bulldogs are going to start off in the zone here, kind of looking at it like a 1-2-2.
They're going to be aggressive in it, though. They went for that steal up high by Chris Harris. Well, he didn't quite get it. Here is a good point guard, David Doster, number 2. He'll be a key, how he'll be able to handle the Scott pressure. Into the corner, Williams missed that. Brandon Smith missed that one badly.
I like the aggressive zone there by Scott, really trying to contain but also create turnovers, and they just created an air ball, so it's a good start for them.
Here's Harris, and he cans the shot. You make that Bryson Collins. Bryson Collins, a good fake, and then hitting from the lane. Pass underneath, they beat them in transition, but the layup was missed by Mitchell Benke, and back comes Scott. If they get out and run, it's going to be tough on Perkins. That was Harris who missed that shot. Rebound knocked away from Richardson, and Doster brings it back up for Perkins. No look pass to the right, attacking the basket, but weren't able to convert as Chase Green was thwarted. Back they come 2-on-1 Scott, and laid in by Chris Darrington. This looks like the kind of game that would probably favor Scott, up and down.
Scott is very up-tempo, very athletic. I see them going up and down the floor already. And Perkins, on the other side, they really need to just finish those easy buckets. There's 2 layups that they missed already. They need to kind of quiet the nerves. Right here, though, we see Scott going straight to the rim. They have no problem working in transition. That was a great finish there by Scott's number 32, Chris Darrington.
4-0. They give them those opportunities to counterattack. It's going to be a long afternoon for Perkins, and here they turn the ball over again.
Perkins just needs to settle down a little bit. They have a whole ton of fans here. They definitely have more fans than Scott already, but they need to take a deep breath. They're in a Division I school. They just need to try to calm down a little bit.
This is very interesting dynamic. Scott leading this game. That hasn't always been a good thing for them. They've been a team that tends to play really well if they get down early. They were down 7-2 against Otsego and ended up winning by 27. That's been kind of typical for them this year. When they get ahead, sometimes they let up a little, coach says. That shot is short by Bryson Collins. Quickly they break out Nick Williams. First time he's really had a chance to make a play, but he missed the floater. And rebound ripped by Bryson Collins.
Just going back to what you just said, Greg, just like that already, Scott, they have no problem running the ball. But like you just said, Perkins, they're down already. Scott needs to keep the foot on the accelerator and continue to go to the basket and try to score some points, put the nail in the coffin early.
Smith trying to drive. Coach Dames used the model that Perrysburg used to beat this team earlier when they held Williams and Smith to a combined total of 11 points. He said he was watching the film of that game intently all week long.
Well, quite frankly, it doesn't matter when they're in transition and they're just running. It doesn't matter who has the ball. They're going straight to the hoop.
Foster was fouled there. There's a look at Scott McVeigh, the head coach for Perkins, he said the team decided in that fourth quarter they were a point down to Bowling Green. They were going to be aggressive, and that's when they play their best. They dominated that fourth quarter. Smith missed the shot, bounds right over the backboard. Back to Scott again. Chris Dames is very much immersed in the game early. Played at Ann Arbor Pioneer. Was about to play for those great teams at Owens with Jim Welling. He decided to start a family and settle down instead.
Nothing wrong with that.
And now he's doing a great job here for the Scott Bulldogs. Pass dumped inside, and a good block there as Smith came down and tomahawked it into the stands.
You can tell that Scott really doesn't like to have to slow the tempo and set up their offense here. They get the ball down low, but Perkins has the ability to stop any ensuing possession there, and they'd rather be out running out in transition.
Harris getting a high screen, finds some room, nice dish, and a foul as he fed it off to Trey Brown. And Trey will go to the free throw line. He's the one we talked about, was a JV player, Brown, until midway through this year. What a great pass.
Perkins needs to try to be able to see both their ball and their man. That time Trey Brown got behind his defender and had the ability to go for the shot, and now he's at the line shooting two, hits the first one.
He looked good on that one. 6'4", junior. We have another player, Percy Bogan, who was JV most of this year. Only his second year of playing basketball. Well, look at him trying to distract him. And he wasn't bothered at all, nothing but net twice. Percy Bogan really just, the light came on and he started doing everything right just recently, according to Coach Dames, and he's been coming in, giving them good minutes off the bench.
One thing about having talented players on Scott's team is they help younger kids also play well, and clearly we've seen that with two JV players playing varsity right now.
Williams missed the shot. Perkins is really going to be in a big hurt if this keeps up. No good by Harris. It just skipped out. Smith the rebound. Neither Smith nor Williams has been able to get Perkins going yet.
Didn't really like that shot there by Chris Harris. He kind of took it early in the possession. Step back wasn't the greatest look, but we know that he likes to score, having 28 points versus Otsego in their last game to get to this district final.
He was trying to make a big play to really bury Perkins early, but maybe didn't need to hurry the shot in that case.
You'd think the game would be a little more spread out, but it's only 6-0. It seems like Scott's been on the board more than that.
Look at that hustle, diving for the ball. Darrington, as he beat David Doster to it. It's still a tie-up, though, in the arrow with Scott. So, all tense, a turnover.
Both of these teams know how much is on the line. Their season is on line. It's tourney time. Both these teams know what it's like to be a part of this district game. So I'm not surprised by seeing some guys on the floor getting crazy.
2 years ago, it was a shot in the final seconds that denied Scott a district championship. Last year they went out in the semis, but here they are again. That was the year that Rogers made it all the way to the state semis in Division II. They're making a run in Division I. They're going to be playing for a district championship against Central Catholic today as we sit here. Dish off, and a whistle, and offensive foul going against Jamal Richardson, who is the leading scorer for Scott, averaging 16.5 over the course of the season.
It's a really good call there. Jamal Richardson needs to understand that his body's going to continue with the momentum, even though he passes the ball away. He's got to kind of control himself there, driving the ball and dishing like that.
Until he learns to put on the air brakes, he'll have to contend with that. Perkins still a goose egg on the scoreboard, and we have barely over 2.5 minutes to play in this first quarter.
Got to get something going against this Scott zone. It's a very active zone, so I understand the difficulty, but I think getting inside touches for Perkins would be a big deal.
Smith, chance to spot up from the corner, drains it.
No need for inside touches when you're hitting from the outside like that. Brandon Smith, he knocks one down.
It's the first shot they have hit, obviously, because they had a 0 on the scoreboard before, but now they had a steal, finally got it. Williams took off, lost it, then Smith took it all the way and laid it in.
Smith is stepping up already. Brandon Smith going straight to the bucket. That's what I like to see. They're finishing those layups they couldn't hit earlier in this quarter. Those are going to be big possessions in transition, especially for Perkins to get back right at Scott.
It was 6-0 and everything was looking good for Scott. Now all of a sudden it's 6-5. Once again, a great start for Scott. Hasn't necessarily served them well in the end.
That's such a great point, Greg.
They made a habit, as you said, of getting down early and then just coming back with a vengeance. Way outside, no one short by Bryson Collins. Battle for the rebound, and a foul on Trey Brown. And Sandusky Perkins with a chance to take the lead now. There's the shot that really got him going finally.
Yep, on a 5-0 run right now, and then in transition, making it happen. Brandon Smith going straight to the bucket. I like to see that.
Was Williams getting assist for that? He bumped it over there.
He really did.
To Smith.
I think Smith kind of made that play on his own, but they did kind of fumble it back and forth.
Right to the basket, and Williams looked a lot more coordinated on that one.
Scott is doing exactly what what they didn't want to do. They don't really have the foot on the accelerator anymore. And the 7-0 run, Perkins run, started with that Smith 3, and now everyone's hitting.
In a game of runs, 6-0 for Scott, 7-0 for Perkins, and another offensive foul on Chris Darrington. That was, I think, a pretty obvious call, and you start to see the looks on some of the Scott players' faces. They're a little bit disturbed now after they were looking pretty confident early.
When your opposition is going up and scoring 7 points in a row against you and you already had a lead, you definitely have that frustration come across, and we're seeing that right now with Scott.
Call for offensive fouls the last several possessions as well.
You gotta believe Perkins has the momentum going here in the second quarter.
Scott has 4 fouls to just 1 for Perkins now at this point. They get them in an early bonus. That could certainly be a problem for Scott. And Sandusky Perkins, on the other hand, they've really settled down. It's obvious now that their nerves are gone and they're just playing their game.
They have, like we talked to Scott's head coach, Chris Dames, earlier. He said, if people start hitting, we got to probably come out of this zone and pressure a little bit more.
Perkins is very deliberate here on this possession. Wouldn't let Doster shoot. He fires it up, and that is way off as the quarter ends. But after it was 6-0 Scott, it's 7-6 Perkins. They take the lead after 1. Brandon Smith, the one who finally hit that shot to break the goose egg, and the whole team seemed to get some confidence then. Pass way off the mark. Nick Williams brought it down, pass underneath, and laid home by Chase Green, and now it is a 9-0 run.
I think in that break right there, just after the first quarter, they said, we have the momentum right now. Let's continue to try to push this lead. And now they're up 3.
See how Scott responds. Harris to the lane, and he draws a foul.
You're going to see Scott really trying to be aggressive like they have been all year, but especially down 3, like you mentioned, they try to start quickly, and there you see Harris going straight to the bucket. And now he's going to go to the line shooting too.
Practically touches the floor with the ball as he gets set. Everybody's got their own style, and it looked good for him as he put it right through to break the skein.
Hey, free throws are all about those knees. You can bend those knees and get a high release, which he has. You go 2 for 2.
Well, they're 4 for 4 on the game. Trey Brown looked very good on his 2 opportunities earlier. They're back to within 1.
We're going to see this little pressure here by Scott like we talked about earlier.
By that half-court trap press. Doster, he's just very patient. He's very comfortable just holding the ball. He's not in a hurry. Coach McVay really liked him as a point guard. 6'1" junior.
Perkins still needs to try to be aggressive and get good open shots here in the zone. I think the key to that is getting some inside touches.
Williams is double teammate. A nice pass. Doster launches one, no good. And rebound yanked down by Bryson Collins.
I like that shot by Collins, but we just let them, Perkins can't just settle for those really long 3-point baskets.
Nice pass by Harris, no look, and he fed Bryson Collins for the finish.
Really impressive pass there by Harris, wow.
That'll make your highlight reel for posting the score.
Will. No look pass. You don't see that very often in high school. It's pretty impressive.
And Scott goes back on top. He had a couple of those. The feed that got Trey Brown to the line was also very nicely set up. That one missed inside by Smith. Here we go. 3-on-1 Scott. And deciding to just take it all the way, take no chances, Chris Darrington.
Darrington, we talked about him being the slasher, and he's stepping up.
They're really picking up the pressure. All of a sudden, it looks like it did in the early part of the game again.
Scott has that lead back. Trying to put pedal to the metal here.
Smith spotted up, way short. Rebound long to Chris Harris. Down court, Darrington missed the layup, and it's tipped in on the follow by Bryson Collins, and all of a sudden it's a 5-point Scott lead. Again, they got behind, and now they started to play.
I'm not sure that wasn't a foul there on Darrington's attempt at a layup, but what a great way for Richardson, I believe it was, to follow and put that back in.
Way long, no good by Nick Williams. Rebounded by Darrington. Harris launches. Way offline and short, but it went off of, they say the Scott player. I thought it might have gone off of Kyle Lewis. Perkins. Perkins gets the ball back. And
I understand Chris Harris trying to make things happen here for Scott, but maybe not the best shot.
30-second timeout called here by Perkins. kind of interesting the way that this game has gone just by the script. Scott got off to a good start, so then they faded a little bit, and then as soon as they got behind and it looked like Perkins was taking the game over, Scott responded like they were shot out of a cannon.
Yep, you know what, Greg, I've been told throughout my entire basketball playing career that basketball is a game of runs, and we're seeing that right now. Scott starts really well. They have the cannon effect. Right back at him is Perkins, and now we're seeing Scott go on a little bit of a run here with a 5-point lead.
And now maybe because they've been behind, they'll keep the run going. That's basically what happened in that Otsego game. It stayed close for a little while into the third quarter, but it was close as 8 points at one stage. But after that, Scott just put him in the rearview mirror.
It's an interesting theory, you know. You get down and then you start playing well. I guess they just need that pressure.
Foster said they were going to try to maybe coax him to shoot and put one up and miss. That one's stolen. Here they come, 3-on-1 the other way again. And Doster blocks Ruben Pratt as he went up. Pratt just inserted after the timeout. We'll get to the free throw line.
Even the bench players run out in transition for Scott. Clearly they like this up-tempo game. Ruben Pratt, a senior, 5'9" senior, going to the line here.
This is the one thing, it's almost like culture shock when some of the teams at Division II, they face these City League teams. They just really haven't played a team with the athleticism and the speed and the up-tempo capabilities that teams like Scott or Rogers in the past have had. And the ones that can adapt to that can do well, and the ones that don't, they just end up in trouble.
It's tough. Perkins is not used to teams like this, like you just mentioned, so they need to try to adjust and get back on defense when Scott's pushing in transition.
Well, their fans have been doing everything they can to throw off the Scott free throw shooters, but to no avail. Scott 5 for 6 now from the line so far.
Could you make a free throw with that behind us?
I've never really tried, to be honest with you. I have a hard enough time just making them in an empty gym. Foster directing traffic. He does appear to not be too inclined to shoot. That's what they suspected would be the case. They're just really trying to take the air out of the ball right now. Smith whips it in. Missed layup by Kyle Lewis. Lewis got his own rebound and scored. He's the one that shut down Vito Brown in the fourth quarter. Did a great defensive job on him in the win over Bowling Green for Perkins. And a drive and block will be called on Cameron Waldock of Perkins.
I like Lewis's ability to go for his own rebound and not give up on it, not get down on himself for missing that first layup. Instead, he put it back in and was able to finish.
Harris is way out to the backcourt to Bryson Collins. Bryson Collins and Marcus Gilmer were the two main returnees last year, but they've gotten a lot of help this year. There's a pass, baseline, nicely set up by Chris Harris to Bryson Collins, who finishes.
The one thing about having a great point guard like Chris Harris is he makes everyone else around him better. That penetration opened up that shot, and he was able to dish off to a teammate for him to score and finish.
Foul called here on Bryson Collins.
We're seeing a lot more fouls in the second quarter.
Very difficult time, not only all the players that Scott lost, but they had several guys that were injured over the summer. And one player who wasn't with them in the summertime, and they would have had a chance to meld their team together. They had to start that off in the beginning of the year. See Coach McVay looking on the sidelines with some concern, and his star player, Nick Williams, fails to convert from the free throw line. Williams has not gotten into this game at all yet. Only 2 points so far. Harris had it stripped away. Williams for once a 3-on-1 the other way. But his call was a charge or a travel. When he was called for the foul, it looked awkward.
It really did. It kind of looked like a travel, but clearly Jamal Richardson for Scott got position. It was a great play he just made for Scott. And of course, Nick Williams is trying to get things going for Perkins, but he really can't right now.
And he's been sat down. That's just his first foul, too. It's not a matter of foul trouble. I think they're just trying to settle him down a little bit. There's a shot hit from the baseline by Ruben Pratt, and he'll get to the free throw line. 8-point Scott lead after they were down 9-6. It's a 13-2 run for them.
I like Pratt. His aggressive attack there and ability to put it up. He was even kind of behind the basket, shooting for the and one.
Got a 5'9" senior guard, converts a three-point play. It's 20-11. So it was a 6-0 Scott run, then a 9-0 Perkins run, and now a 14-2 Scott run. I guess basketball is a game of runs.
It really is.
Whistle as Smith tried to penetrate, and a foul was called on Pratt.
The last thing Scott wants is to slow this game down. Ticky-tack fouls like that is not the way to keep up their momentum and keep up the pace that they want to play at right now.
Hey, Williams wasn't out long, was he?
No, he wasn't, but
about 30 seconds, and the coach said, hey, play your game or something like that.
Give him a little breather.
Seemed to be out of kilter a little bit. Smith, he hasn't really been able to take up the slack yet either. He's just got 5 points. Into the paint, and once again, an early whistle and a foul. This time going on Percy Bogan.
And that's a good call. He clearly slapped down, Percy Bogan slapped down on his arm.
And that will send Chase Green to the line. Percy Bogan, 14. He's the player we talked about. It looked like the light came on, and all of a sudden he's just doing everything well. It's only his second year playing basketball.
Still those JV kids that are stepping up for Scott.
Chase Green banked the first one in. That might have been an accident the first time based on that second shot. And another foul though, and it was an encroachment. He's going to get another opportunity.
I think it might have been a lane violation.
And he knocks it down. That's a little bit of a break for Perkins. We'll see if it turns things in their favor. Scott's got that spring in their step again after they were looking a little bit flustered after their early lead disappeared.
Chris Harris needs to stop being fancy with the ball at the top and go to the basket. Anybody can dribble up top and put it between their legs, but go to the basket.
Logan tried to get Pratt cutting back the other way, and speeding back defensively, Chris Darrington to break up the pass.
I like that push and transition there by Perkins. It's something they need to have happen. Now they have the ball underneath their own basket with the ability to score just before halftime.
Chris Darrington there, you saw, number 32, averaged 10 points a game this year. Harris averaged 14.8. Richardson 16.4 during the regular season. Smith made a nice move and then he crashed into the lane as he came up against Marcus Gilmer, who was called for the foul.
Smith just trying to make things happen for Perkins. Going to the basket. He already knocked down a few shots. He has 5 so far.
And he hits that free throw. He'll be playing somewhere at the next level, as coach said. They're not certain where yet. 6'5" senior. Smooth shooter, as we saw there. And they're back to within 5. And the Sandusky crowd chanting defense. Harris trying to challenge 3 guys. The defense did clamp down. Out comes Cameron Waldock.
Perkins looking to take the momentum here, headed into halftime.
Could get within a 1-possession game on this possession, but Smith just ran into a dead end and was called for an offensive foul.
Clearly, the defender had been there. I think Smith needs to try to pull up and shoot the jumper. Scott's Marcus Gilmer was clearly already in position.
Looked like that earlier effort by Williams where he was called for the offensive foul in the transition play. Just kind of got themselves in trouble. Ended up being called for a foul. Here is Richardson. Nice feed underneath, but a good block there by Chase Green on the shot attempt by Gilmer. Tried to save it right back to Williams, and then he is knocked down in the backcourt. Maybe that's what they need to do to get him going, is get him to the free throw line. Great pass, but even better defensive play.
Gilmer just trying to be aggressive here. He tries to come back and reach around, but got called for the foul, and now Perkins has the ability to make this a one-possession game on this 1-and-1 attempt.
Williams, District Player of the Year last season. In all likelihood will be again. And he's only a junior. 25 points and 17 rebounds in the Bowling Green win.
Those aren't too bad a stats, huh?
A monster day, that's for sure. And he missed the second free throw, and then a foul called underneath, so it's still a two-possession game. And they called Kyle Lewis as he was trying to hit the boards.
Both of these teams are now in the bonus. Game has really slowed down here in the second quarter. We didn't see a whole lot of fouls in the first. Now here in the second quarter, both teams shooting the 1-and-1.
9 fouls on Scott, 8 on Perkins. Bryson Collins at the line, and he knocks it down. Scott has been looking very good from the free throw line.
They really have, but compliment Perkins and their ability to get back in this one a little bit after they kind of had it put to them on a 14 or so run by the Bulldogs.
Rebound to the missed free throw. Williams again just doesn't look in sync. Threw up an off-balance shot and missed it. And he's shaking his head heading back down the court.
He rushed that one a little bit. Wouldn't have minded if Perkins would have brought that one out and went for the last shot in this first half.
He's not used to only having 3 points at this stage of the game. And there's a steal by Smith. Long pass. Doster beating everyone down court, and he got chopped by Gilmer. Will get to the free throw line. He had to know that was coming.
Yeah, that was nearly intentional, but Perkins once again trying to get out in transition. Gilmore just comes and about takes his head off there.
Well, the way these guys get back, he knew that that wasn't just going to be an unmolested layup.
But credit to David Doster and his ability to try to head fake his defender and go up with it.
He's a 3-year letter winner. He was the starting point guard from the moment he arrived at the school as a freshman.
That's not easy to do.
Just to take charge of the team like that. Coach really spoke extremely highly of him. And he hit both those free throws, and it is a one-possession game now with just 20 seconds left in the half.
This game has been so back and forth, and these foul trouble has really played a part late here in the second half.
Oh, wide open, they threw the ball away. Gilmer had no idea there was nobody within 5 feet of him. I think he would have been able to just go right in and lay it home if he'd have wanted to.
He got the ball there at about the free throw line. He really could have turned around and just shot it.
Smith does shoot it to tie at the half. No good, though. The tip was after the buzzer. I believe it didn't go in anyway. But Perkins ends on a high note. Down just 3 to Scott after Scott had been dominating earlier in the quarter. probably want it to be up in the 60s or 70s. Instead, it's 21-18, so we'll see if they can open things up a little bit in the second half. They start by throwing the ball right into the scorer's table. That was a pretty good catch over there.
That's not really the best start I think Scott wanted there. And Perkins now have a chance to tie, or at least take down this lead a little bit.
I think they're trying to get Perkins ahead so that they can get that cannon effect going again.
Definitely. Like I said, not probably the best theory in the world, but
seems to be the way it's been working. I'm sure that not by design. Meanwhile, Perkins, they've noticeably been trying to really slow things down. They want to get this game to a crawl practically.
Really have, without having a shot clock. They have all the time in the world to take any shot they want, especially against this zone.
Smith had a great move there. Look at that. I thought he was going to pop out there at the last moment, but he looked off, got the defender anticipating a pass, and he just took off all the way to the basket. Great individual effort.
Smith with 9 points now, and he's really tried to turn things up for Perkins a little bit. Only down 1 now here early in the second half.
If I was Perkins, I'd be thinking, if we can just get Williams going, we've got a good chance to win this game.
It would be a dual threat. Let's see if it happens.
Out there, watching Chris Harris closely. Passing to a crowd, but got to Collins, a fadeaway, no good. Rebound Smith, down court to Williams. Great move inside, all the way, he scores. And maybe they are going to get that dynamic duo going. That was a great outlet pass from Smith to Williams.
And that just shows Williams' ability to get to the basket against 2 defenders and finish really high like that.
Fine, no-look pass again by Harris, and the ball drops for Trey Brown.
Well, that Perkins lead didn't last very long, just like that. Scott, they like being down. They'll score bunches when they're down.
Came right back again. Triple teaming Smith. And had the ball stolen by a 4th player. Out they come, Collins off Trey Brown's steal, but he lost it to Doster. Doster ahead to Williams, a race to the basket, knocked away from Williams. He got it back and scored and one as well.
Williams turning things on a little bit, and he gets out there in transition, which Perkins isn't really the team to do that as much, but we see here the pass ahead to Williams. Drives the lane and gets the first one blocked, but doesn't give up on the play, goes up with the second. Now he's going to the line, possibly for the and one.
It still didn't look very good for Williams, but he got the job done that time. And he makes a 3-point conversion. He is now up to 7 points. And it's 25-23 Perkins, 8 points now with the free throw. Harrison, no good off the front rim. Doster the rebound.
Tough rebound by Doster.
He made a great steal. And now a great rebound. Smith right in, soaring to the hoop. And it's a 4-point Perkins edge.
And we are seeing that dynamic duo that I just mentioned. Both Smith and Williams making things happen right now. They have 11 and 8 points respectively.
They combined for 10 at the half. They've now combined for 19, and we're not 3 minutes into the second half.
I think a little halftime chat there maybe got them going a little bit.
Scott's got to get going. Richardson, long heave by Darrington, no good. Rebound straight to Smith. All of a sudden, Perkins starting to play with a little swagger. Doster thought about shooting, decided not to.
I thought that one was going up. A little bit of momentum gets anybody shooting. I can tell you that happened in our game.
Consensus is you would have shot that one.
I would have. Oh, he takes this one though.
And he should have taken the first one. He got to thinking about it too much.
He did.
Out comes Darrington right back. Smith hacked him. Darrington taking it strong to the hoop, get to the line. One way to end the run.
Both of these teams just trying to be aggressive. Of course, the Bulldogs, we know they like going straight to the basket. Anybody on their team will do it, from number 1 starter to the last guy on the bench.
Well, Brad Wozniak can say things like that to you because he doesn't have to face you in practice anymore.
Yeah, Brad Woznicki. He was
Yeah, Woznicki, what am I thinking?
he was on the black squad for a while. He thought he had game, but I showed him otherwise. It's the NWO.
27-25. I was changing his name to protect the innocent.
Of course, understood. He needs some protection with that shot he has.
2-point Perkins lead. Doster, nice finish there. That was a sweet looking shot.
Floater, Doster, everyone doing it right now for Perkins. Everyone has a little bit of confidence with this 4-point lead.
That drive to the hoop, all the way in, and a foul. Darrington with a daring move and a chance to get Scott back to within a point.
Nice baseline take here by Darrington, the head fake, and then he goes around his defender and finishes. He's going to the line. He's pumped up looking at the camera saying, let's go. Let's get some points on the board.
This is turning into a pretty exciting game here in the third quarter. The first half was not so much.
Hey, I'm pumped up. I don't know about you, Greg, but I'm excited.
Chris Dame's getting excited over there. But he's always in control, and I think that's one of the keys for Scott. They tend to play under control. They still have the athleticism, but they're very controlled. All the way in, and an offensive foul on Williams.
And that's got to be frustrating for Williams. I'm not sure number 24 there for Scott had the position, but
Trey Brown was strutting back down the court. Hey, I was a JV guy, and I just got the All-District Player of the Year to take a charge.
And Williams just trying to be, Williams just trying to be aggressive there.
And Williams going to the bench again. It's interesting, it's only his second foul. He's not in any real foul trouble. It's the second time he's been pulled off, and I think, again, they're trying to settle him down. Richardson jumped through 2 defenders, but was called for travel.
And that's a good call there. This Perkins zone making things happen as well defensively, and right back at it. Williams is going in the game.
.29 and counting in this third quarter. It's been a seesaw game. Unlike the first half where it was just a seesaw of runs, now it's been teams answering and keeping the game close.
Perkins needs to try to get some movement going on here against the zone, get an open look.
They looked kind of stagnant offensively in the first half, and a foul on Richardson. He's saying I never touched him. He fell down. And the way this game's been going, Williams has been falling down a lot.
He has, but usually I think he has 2 offensive calls now, but Williams just trying to be aggressive here, gets tripped up a little bit.
Certainly, this is not one of Williams' better games we've seen so far. He's kind of fighting everything, although he's accomplished some things here in the third quarter. Scott settling that 2-3 zone. Pass in for Kyle Lewis. Pulled his way to the basket, no good. Williams will get to the line as Richardson swatted his shot into the Sandusky fans.
Williams grabbing that rebound tough and trying to go back up with it.
Can't hit free throws that very well today either. Sort of like Mark Loving the other day for St. John's when scored a lot of points, but he missed 5 key free throws in the fourth quarter, and in that second half against Rogers, he just didn't seem to really be himself. Williams, kind of the same thing right here. Full timeout, 30-27. Pirates leading the Bulldogs. We'll be right back. Perkins by 3 over Scott. Getting into the latter stages of the third quarter. Very hard to get a read on how this game is going and where it's going.
It's been so back and forth. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one team really break out, if not here in the third quarter, definitely in the fourth.
That's what Perkins did against Bowling Green. There's a block by Smith. As he said, get that out of here. Darrington trying to drive on him.
Yeah, and he tried to go up there, but Perkins has a lot of confidence right now, especially Smith with 11 points leading this team to a 3-point lead right now.
Darrington. Collins has played a very strong game for Scott. Chris Harris going to go one-on-one with Waldock. Dish, baseline. Nice shot there by Richardson.
I like that baseline shot by Richardson. He averaged 17 points a game throughout the season and showing his athletic ability there.
Scott's leading scorer. To the basket, and again, Trey Brown forced Smith to alter the shot. Scott thought it was going their way, but the officials ruled otherwise. Trey Brown, he sure doesn't look like a guy who was playing JV ball a couple of months ago, does he?
He has a lot of athleticism and confidence.
Pressure situation. Missed shot by Williams. Here they go. It's 2-on-1. And finishing with the left-hand layup, Collins. Scott leads. I would think that if we see more of those types of transition plays between now and the end, Scott may win this. If we don't see many of those kind of plays, Perkins might win it.
I absolutely agree. Collins has the ability to get out there. He has 11 points now. He was very patient with going up with that basket. Let his defender go by and then laid it in very nicely.
Almost thrown away, but Doster recovered it. Usually you'd like to have such a steady point guard like him on your team. He's just always in command of what's going on out there.
Perkins now with a lot of movement in their offense, but doesn't help them create shots against this Scott zone.
Might just be milking the clock until they finally get one. There it is, Smith. You don't need a lot of movement when the guy can do that.
Smith really stepping up right now. He has 14 on the night. What a big shot, and that was deep. That was past the college line.
2-point Perkins lead in the final seconds of this third quarter. Out for Harris. Darrington thought about it, thought the better of it. Now he decides to charge in, and he draws a block on Kyle Lewis. And the Perkins fans are expressing their dismay at the call.
I think the ref even kind of didn't know what to call there. I clearly thought that his feet were set, but hey, that's why I'm not out there on the court, so.
My guess is if you were on that bench over there, you'd be giving the official an earful right about now.
Hey, that's what I do when I sit over there for BG.
Yeah, you make a big contribution to the team even if you don't play.
Definitely.
It's one of the most valuable services someone can render.
5 seconds.
Harris had to go way back to get the pass, and way short on the shot. So, Perkins takes a 2-point lead into the fourth quarter and the game on the line. Yeah, it's kind of fun working with this crew here today. 33-31, Perkins over Scott. And it's been a fun basketball game in the third quarter. And I have a feeling we're going to see some real interesting developments here in the fourth. Perkins went from 3 down at halftime to a 2-point lead now starting the fourth.
Scott's doing some jumping jacks there on defense.
Yeah.
I think Coach Dames told them to pressure the ball. Do not let them shoot like they did. We just saw Smith hit that 3 late in the third quarter.
They're doing their morning calisthenics. Look at Smith. He has shown the ability to shoot from the outside and penetrate. 4-point lead.
He's really impressed me. 16 points on the night, making things happen right now for Perkins. The team, probably the underdog, at least so we thought.
Foul on Harris as Williams careened into him. It's been one of those, they made those old Wheaties commercials, so nothing's going right for the star player. It's been kind of like that for Williams so far. Here's a look at our score by quarters. Perkins did early deuce here at the start of the fourth. Mitchell Benke lets it fly. Oh, Smith got it. Benke then set up the screen as he gave Smith the ball, and he drained another one.
This place is rocking. Perkins fans on their feet, and Smith is leading this team right now.
Darrington trying to match it, and he does.
Right back at him, Darrington. He's hitting from the outside. I think everyone's trying to put the dagger in it, but Perkins still with a 4-point lead.
That's one of the biggest shots to make, when you come right back after a big shot by the other team and take the wind out of their sails a little.
Have you done that before, Greg?
Did I sound like I speak from experience?
You did. You did.
Back in my day,
Back
I
in
did,
your
yes.
day.
But it was a little more than 5 years ago. Smith. Into the corner to Williams. Doster. Harris went for the steal, couldn't quite get it. Baseline Smith, look at him maneuver, but he stepped out of bounds.
Not a whole lot of room down there, but Smith just trying to make things happen like he has been already. He has 19 points, game leader right now.
6 to play. Channing air ball on the Perkins side. And a timeout. 30-second timeout for Scott. It's starting to become a critical juncture of the game, and Chris Dames wants to make sure that they're all on the same page. Coach said he's equally good shooting from the perimeter or taking it to the hoop, and he's proven those words to be accurate.
If I'm Chris Dames in that last time out, I'm telling my Scott guys, there isn't a 4-point shot, but break them down like he just did. Break down the defense and get the ball inside. They're cutting this lead now.
Yeah, it was great when Darrington made that quick 3 after Smith scored, but maybe an indication that they were a little bit too much of a hurry. Timeout, this time called by Perkins. 30-second timeout. Scott has 19 points, or Smith, I should say, has 19 points. Scott has 36, and right now that's too few. Down 38-36.
Someone confused about the call here for Perkins. Not quite sure what they're doing offensively.
See, they were trying to stall it out, but they've really been playing a lot like this throughout the entire game. It's trying to keep this at a very moderate tempo. Scott not pressuring them that much either. Now they finally come out and do, and the foul called on Collins. I would expect Scott maybe to really try to come after Perkins and make their speed, rattle them a bit, try to take advantage of their big asset in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, Scott really can't sit back in that zone like they have been. They're down 2 right now, and they need to probably come out of the zone and pressure the ball a little bit. I think we're going to see that here late in the fourth quarter.
Williams fake, pulls up, and that's what great players will do. Even if they're not having their best game, then when they take one, when the pressure's on, they hit it.
Big-time players make big-time shots, and that right there was a big-time shot by Williams. The pull-up jumper, that wasn't an easy shot, he was contested as well, Greg.
Yeah, it was one of his few that actually looked impressive, too.
It really did, very athletic.
And a drive there and a foul called on Doster.
Both of these teams have a few fouls to give before anyone's shooting, but you don't want to send either team to the line, especially with how well they were shooting from the line in the first half.
Both teams with 5 fouls at this point, so free throw shooting is very likely to become a big factor down the stretch. From the free throw line, Bryson Collins hits, and that was not an easy shot. He had to take it, turn, and fire.
That's what Chris Dames told us prior to the game. They want to get Collins to that mid-range jumper, that free throw line jumper, and he knocks it down so well for them, like we just saw.
Scott down by just 2 now.
Got some coaching from
the
stands behind us here.
I'd say it's good advice.
Yeah, it is. No bad passes. I agree with that.
Smith, oh, look at that pass. And a foul called on, offensive foul on Smith. Same thing you said earlier, you got to remember that you can't just stop in midair.
You really can. He's got to just pull up and make the easy pass there and try to make, instead of trying to make a fancy play like he did, you can't stop in midair like you mentioned, Greg, so that makes that play very tough.
Nonetheless, an outstanding play on his part. If he'd have been able to stop in midair, it would have been perfect.
I don't have that talent.
If you ever develop it, you let me know. Ken will put you on the light side.
Yeah, yes, you will.
It. Barrington. And that was too tough. Drive, and he was fouled by Doster. That might have been the intent. He just tried to draw the foul. He's lucky to get to the line and call that active shooting. It was more like an act of throwing up a crazy off-balance thing.
It really was. There was no chance that one really going in, but now he has opportunity to put 2 on the board. You know what I just thought of, Greg? We haven't seen 1 dunk in this game yet.
With Scott, that's kind of their signature sometimes. They're within a point, and maybe they're waiting for the big moment to throw it down with a flourish and win the game. Perkins crowd doing their best to unnerve him, but they're on the wrong side. I'm surprised they don't run all over to the other side.
Seriously.
Because I think that's the Scott
maybe
section.
The Scott section, yes.
Tie game, 40-40, last 3 minutes to play. Bulldogs doing their jumping jacks again. The pressure is really on now with the Berth and regionals on the line.
This game could really go either way at this point. I think it's a matter of who's going to control the tempo.
Smith with another good pass. And then they called foul on Trey Brown. And he's almost apoplectic about it.
Yeah, I think that's a frustrating call. Kind of was a travel. I think that Scott fans were looking for the travel, but got the foul instead. And
you know what, though? He was reacting the same way when they called the foul on Smith before. So he's just into this game, that's all. As well you can imagine for somebody who was playing JV until recently.
Something tells me these are going to be a long 2 minutes and 30 seconds here.
Both teams in the bonus for the duration. Goster in a little trouble as he picked up his dribble, but Williams was there. Williams again trying to make a play, dish it off underneath it, out of the grasp of Mitchell Benke. Ball turned over back to Scott with 2:08 left to play.
Benke right under the basket. He's got to be ready, got to have his hands ready for that ball. What a great pass by Williams trying to make a play. And in crunch time like that, Benke's got to be ready to catch it and go up with that shot.
Gave him a nice soft pass right there where he can catch it.
Yep.
And a timeout called by Scott with 2:02 to play. Two years ago, a Damon Powell shot with less than 10 seconds to play sank them in the district final. This year, they've got a chance to break through. And it's their game to lose at the moment because they've got possession in a tie game with just 2:02 to play. Here we go.
Perkins.
Harris.
He's getting a little fancy with it up top. Perkins into man-to-man. But no reason to pressure the ball when he's not really going anywhere with it.
Gone between the legs countless times here, just trying to entice the defender to try to steal the ball. Just going to dribble it off your heel or something doing that. Harrison, pass for Brown, and stolen. Kyle Lewis broke up the play, and Goster got it.
Harris had a wide open attempt there at a layup or at least a short jumper. I don't think he should have passed that one off. That could have been a huge play for Scott.
He went for the steal. Harris maybe trying to make up for that last play. He's called for a foul, and that will put Williams on the line.
And we just mentioned Williams is a big-time player. These are big-time free throws with 1 minute left in this game, tied up at 40. 1-1.
Smooth hits. That's very smooth. And he's up to 11 points now. 30 between he and Smith. They got to keep waiting until they put up the point after the shot made. Now 13. 42-40. Still a one-possession game. They could tie it or win it on this possession. Under a minute. Sandusky fans thirsting for that last minute to go by, and they still lead. Scott trying to get through to the regional for the first time since they knocked off St. John's back early in the BCSN era. Full timeout here, and the game is on the line. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. 42-40 Perkins. Scott with 40 seconds to decide whether they're going to become district champions. Or at the very least, get them into overtime. Driving, Collins, and he is fouled by Kyle Lewis. You know, I was almost thinking that might not be a terrible play for Perkins. Make him hit these pressure free throws, and then you get a chance to get the ball back and maybe try to win it.
They definitely do, put a ton of pressure here on Collins at the free throw line. What a great take by him at an attempt at a layup. And he knocks down the first one. This is going to get exciting. 1-point game with under 30 seconds.
Scott has been very good from the line today. 11 of 14, now 12 of 15. 13 of 16, so they didn't rattle him by the pressure. But now, it's Perkins' game to possibly win here in the final possession. Everybody is standing.
Everybody on their feet here at the Stroh Center. It is rocking right now.
Wait till 10 and then maybe start their moves. They've got the ball in Smith's hands. That's where they want it. Slices off the screen to the basket, puts it up, no good. Rebound stolen away, and the buzzer sounds. I said they were going to try to maybe get that dunk to win the game, but there wasn't enough time. We're going to overtime here at the Stroh Center. 42 all. Smith was denied the game-winning basket, and a great job by Collins to prevent Williams from being able to get the putback. Tip was won cleanly by Scott, but it went right to the Perkins player, Lewis. Foster. I can't recall him making one bad play in this game.
He really hasn't. What a smart player. Only a junior.
Probably one of the reasons they're not pressuring as much defensively is because he just hasn't been immune to it. Shot, hand by Williams.
Williams, I really, really love that pull-up jumper off that wings ball screen. He goes straight up.
Harris blocked by Smith. They're going to say he fouled him though. Smith says, I thought I got all ball. Take a look here and see.
Smith just trying to be aggressive, and he clearly came down, knocked him in the hands.
Let's see if they can continue their free throw shooting expertise. Yes, they do.
Not very often do you see high school teams shoot free throws this well. And I've been really impressed with both Scott and Perkins doing
Interesting. For Scott in the City League, compare that to Rogers the other night where they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in the fourth quarter against St. John's and almost cost them the game. And here's one of their city rivals. Scott really showing how it's done. 15 of 18 now. Only 4 points for Harris. Got 28 in the last game. But boy, were those two really big. And there's a steal by Darrington. Fouled by Benke. And he hits the deck hard.
Great steal there. Scott just trying to be aggressive, and that was Chris Darrington. trying to shake things off a little bit.
Scott's free throw shooting could really be the ace in the hole here for them. They've got a chance to take the lead. They're in the double bonus now for the rest of the game.
I believe this will be Scott's first lead in a while.
They're led by 3 at the half. Lost it very early in the second half, and they haven't led since. But now they do. And finally they miss a free throw, but they still have taken the lead here with under 3 minutes to play. Williams, great pass to Lewis. He let the man jump right by him and hit the layup. Great effort by Lewis after a fine pass from Williams.
Lewis is only a junior, and his ability to head fake, get his defender off his feet, fly by, finish that lay-in. I like that a lot by him.
Timeout on the floor. Scott finished 3rd place in the City League. They've beaten by Bowsher in the City Tournament. They said they saw the Start upset over Rogers. They'd beaten Start badly earlier in the year, and they got so excited about maybe getting to the finals against Start that they forgot that they had to beat Rogers, or Bowsher, I should say. Now they've got a chance to redeem themselves big time. Into the lane. Forced in, and a foul as well. Bryson Collins will get to the line after Harris set him up beautifully.
Chris Dames said before the game, we are going to try to get Collins in that mid-range area, and right there we see him do it. He makes a huge play, huge chest bump going on there on the Scott bench, and Dames even with a little fist pump, but he can't connect on the free throw. Still a 1-point game.
Richardson with that pass, as the replay showed. And again, couldn't convert from the line, but those 2 points loom very large. 1-point Scott lead as we come down on the 2-minute mark remaining. Smith, that's going to be off. Rebound taken by Harris. Now let's see what Scott can do. Keep their poise in this huge possession. And a double dribble call.
Very good call by the referee there. Harris got trapped up and in between 2 defenders and tried to put the ball back on the ground or make a pass. He fumbled it, and that's clearly a double dribble going the other way.
Again, the replay certainly bore that out. Minute and a half to go. Wide open underneath. Got the pass from Doster. I think they forgot about him. He dropped that ball that was passed to him by Williams earlier. This time, he executed perfectly.
That's one thing about being in a zone. You can't let defenders like that get behind you. What a huge play there by Perkins, now with the 1-point lead in 1 minute to play.
Probably were doubling on Smith or Williams. They forgot all about Becky. A drive and a charge on Darrington.
His feet were clearly outside that arc, and Darrington trying to go to the basket. Kyle Lewis for Perkins stepping up, making a huge play.
No doubt that he got position there. And Now Scott's down a point. They nearly forced a steal off the inbounds pass. Brandon Smith calls timeout with 58.2 seconds to play. It's going down to the wire again here. Once again, Scott finds themselves in the final minute of a district title game with everything on the line. Inbounds to Williams, nearly stolen by Harris. He almost picked his pocket. Doster forges into the forecourt.
I think they were looking for a travel there by Williams because he picked up the ball and kind of slid his foot, but
they knocked the ball away from Smith, but the foul is called on Chris Harris.
And we know Smith can shoot it, so.
He's 2 for 2 from the free throw line, but the pressure is really on now. A little bit different than earlier in the game. He's deep in thought at the free throw line. I'm assuming they're not trying to hex him.
No, I think it's spear fingers.
All right. Whatever it was, it worked. Trying to make it a three-point game, and he does. 4 for 4 from the line for Smith. 21 points on the day for him, and timeout, Scott. Now they need a three-point possession, or they could go quickly for 2 as they once again plot their strategy. And what would you be anticipating here?
You know, I think Scott's going to try to go to the basket and then force Perkins to get the ball, inbounds the ball, and handle the pressure, because they haven't really proved themselves to be able to do that too well thus throughout the game, and they've really tried to control the tempo, and I think that's why Perkins has a 3-point lead here with 35 seconds in overtime. They have controlled the tempo. It hasn't been as up and down like it was in the first half. Advantage Perkins.
Perkins seems to be a very good kind of a team to cope with all the pressure and the up-tempo that a team like Scott can bring to it. That's what we said earlier. The teams that can adapt to that, even if they don't see it a lot, tend to do well, and they have. Here we go. Scott needs 3 to force another overtime. Looking around. 20 seconds to go. The more time they run, the more likely it's going to be that they're going to need a 3-point shot. They go for it. Harris didn't get it. Rebound Collins underneath. They're going to try again. Darrington, no. Lewis squeezes the rebound, and it looks like Perkins has got this game if they can just hit one free throw.
What an attempt there by Scott. Harris trying to get it, and then such a great rebound there by Collins. Kicks it back out to Chris Darrington. He can't knock it down, and then Perkins, Lewis with a huge rebound. Now they're going to the line with the possibility to put this game away. 5 seconds.
I tell you, I was all ready for one of those shots to go in.
I was too.
Sort of like when you shot a couple in that Ohio game, I was all ready for them to go in, and the whole crowd was, but they didn't. 5.3 seconds left. They put a little more time on the clock. But if they can hit one and make this a two-possession game, then you just say, don't foul these guys no matter what. It's hard to see how you wouldn't win.
Yeah, you have to be smart if you're Perkins, but these are big free throws. Either you can give Scott a chance or put this game away with 5 seconds.
Yeah, the Division I district final at the Stroh Center coming up, which will also have between Anthony Wayne and Mansfield Senior, the team that knocked off previously undefeated Norwalk. That'll be a big matchup, and of course Rogers and Central facing off at Savage Arena in yet another district title in Division I.
Looking forward to that game and calling it with you, of course.
Well, at this point it's down to Scott just hoping that they miss a free throw. And they might have an advantage. I don't know. We haven't really seen Kyle Lewis. He doesn't look like a shooter as much as the other guys. He's got the pressure squarely on his shoulders. And he's not so much a shooter, it doesn't appear. Well, all of a sudden, the Bulldog hopes are alive again. One more brick like that, and then they're going to have, well, now they're up to down to 5.3 seconds. It went from 4.7 to 5.3 to 5.8, then back to 5.3. They got time to get a decent shot if he misses this. All four defenders back in midcourt. And he does miss it. Timeout. And they're going to get one more shot at it. All he had to do is sink one of those, and it was ball game.
Yep.
And when you open the door like that, you never know what might happen.
This game is going to come down to free throws, and both teams have really executed well, connected on their free throws, but pressure moments like that, 4.6 seconds remain. And
take a look at the numbers. We talked about how close it was, the three-point field goal percentage and numbers for Perkins. That's been their edge, but Scott has made it up from the free throw line, and that's why we're so close right now. Both teams have shot extremely well until those last two, but Lewis, pretty clear that free throw shooting wasn't really his forte on those. The turnovers also very close. What do you think they're going to try to do here? They got 4.6 seconds.
You got to believe they're going to get the ball to somebody who's been hot. I'm thinking either Darrington or obviously Collins. Harris has been money throughout the entire season, but he hasn't connected very often or very much throughout this entire game. I think you got to get it to Darrington or somebody, Collins possibly, who can get it up pretty quickly and have a good look at it.
Collins and Darrington have combined for 31 points. Smith and Williams for 36. They've got to go the length of the court. Obviously, Perkins does not want to foul. Harris will try to delay him. They break the press. Darrington, though, is practically in the stands. He had no chance of making that shot. And Scott falls again in a heartbreaker in a district final. 50-47 to Sandusky Perkins.
So for the second time in 3 years, Scott comes up short in the district finals. The Bulldogs just had no answer for Brandon Smith, who finished with 21 points as the Pirates won back-to-back district titles. We hope you enjoyed this look back at the 2013 Boys District Finals between Scott and Perkins. We'll see you next time on BCSN Classics.